You're watching KPVM News 46. Week in Review with Deanna O'Donnell. And Jason Koblenz.
Welcome to News 46's Week in Review, your #1 source for local news. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Jason Koblenz. Firefighters saved approximately 20 to 30 homes from a fast-moving structure and brush fire early Friday morning. This fire originally started on Rome Street, traveling down Lolo Lane, jumping Bernard Street and ending on Galley. Many residents were evacuated from their homes. Valley Electric Association is running lines to the homes in order for all residents to return.
Just before 1 o'clock, two Nye County Sheriff's deputies observed a fire condition, and what they did is they investigated what they observed. They found what appeared to be a single-wide structure that was well involved. Weather conditions were such that with the wind, the low relative humidity, and the relatively still high temperatures promulgated that fire in a very short fashion to extend to nearby properties, including going over several roadways onto adjacent properties heading further north. Thick brush, overabundance of material in some of the properties, but we had sustained winds of approximately 10 to 15 miles an hour, and then we had gusts up to 25 to 30. So those winds weren't even heading in a consistent direction. They were shifting winds, so at one point they were heading due north, then they shifted to the west.
There had to be an evacuation of the homes in the surrounding area.
We did precautionary evacuations with the assistance of the sheriff's office, and it was more of a precautionary measure. But I will tell you, there was at times that the fire was heading so fast with such ferocity that those evacuations were absolutely necessary. In this particular case, though, those that were evacuated were returned to their homes approximately 2 hours later.
How many homes or structures did we have burned?
Our preliminary count is 3 structures being homes, at least 1 shed, a Class 1 motorhome, and several utility poles.
And how much acreage do you think burned last night?
It's estimated about 15 acres were burned last evening. Now, out of those structures we just mentioned, only 1 was an actual occupied structure, but the owner was out of town, so it was idle at the time of the fire.
Did all the occupants of the homes leave readily when they were asked to leave there?
No, some of the citizens decided that they didn't want to evacuate, so it wasn't a mandatory at that point. However, we had the provisions in place that if necessary, they were going to become mandatory.
It appears that the area that the fire started from was difficult to get to.
It was. There was an overabundance of material such as the salt cedars and the mesquites and the property contained on. So as that was heading away from that direction following the wind, we had forecasted which way the fire was going to be heading, made those necessary precautions on the evacuations, and placed our resources along the path to quick effect an outcome such as we had, which we had the fire contained approximately an hour and a half after we arrived.
The flames were very high, but we also had a lot of hot embers.
A lot of embers. We established an ember patrol, which was well in advance of the fire, so we can try to maintain an idea where that fire was going to possibly be going further. And the flame lengths were approximately between 50 to 70 feet in length.
Prompt Valley Fire and Rescue fought the fire. You called in a little bit of extra backup.
We did. We exercised our mutual aid agreement for some additional manpower and for some water shuttling. BLM also arrived, so the county came in with a couple of resources, as well as BLM also brought 2 engines over for manpower.
You've called in the State Fire Marshal.
Yes, the State Fire Marshal has been requested. They will be arriving tomorrow morning. We're keeping an eye on specific sections. As we know, there's at least what we consider 2.5 to almost 3 city blocks that were involved in the fire last evening. So we're covering that area. We're making sure, because again, we have sustained winds today. Winds are supposed to gust up again this evening, and we're supposed to have these conditions now through the weekend. So we're going to have crews mopping up, continue to monitor, and also doing ember patrols.
Advice that you might be able to give the citizens out there regarding brush, cleaning up, avoiding situations like this?
Yeah, just be diligent on making sure that there's no open flame in these areas around your property. Make sure that, again, even materials such as grinding and activities such as that, where there's any kind of material that could ignite the nearby brush. It's a highly volatile time, the fuel load is abundant, and the conditions are right for some serious fires.
This fire is considered suspect at this point?
We are considering a suspect, and until proven otherwise, and that's the reason for the State Fire Marshal coming in.
The Pahrump Nugget has taken in a couple of the displaced fire victims from the Lola Lane fire on Friday morning. We spoke with Nancy Phillips, whose power was out due to the blaze.
We were awakened at 1 o'clock this morning, told to get out. Flames were shooting all over the place. We hung around the area till about 6:30 this morning till we could finally get into our home.
So your home was not burnt?
It was not burnt. We do have smoke damage, no utilities, no water, nothing like that.
But it did come real close to your home, right?
Oh yes, my next door neighbor's home is completely destroyed, absolutely demolished.
He actually lives in that home, but he's not home right now at this point.
That is correct. He is in Thailand right now.
Is he aware, do you know?
Yes, it very much hurt me to call him and tell him his home was burnt down.
So your potbelly pig?
Yes. Brat is doing fine. He buried himself in the dirt and came through everything just fine.
His name is Brat?
Brat.
And it came real close to your house, though, the row of trees, and you just had, just a narrow pathway between your home and fire.
That's correct. His entire, all the way to the fence line, our row of trees is going to be completely lost.
So you're staying here because you don't have power now. I know Valley Electric's trying to get the power on, but what was your experience with, and what would you like to say to the fire department now?
Oh, thank you so much. You kept us informed. Chief Lewis, thank you so much. He just kept us going with everything. He gave us details as everything was going on. Let us know when we could go back up to the house. I just thank the fire department. They were absolutely awesome.
And Valley Electric Association has released a press release regarding this incident. Early this morning, Valley Electric Association was notified of a structure fire near Lola Lane and Bernards Road. The fire impacted 93 Valley Electric Association members. Power was restored to 53 of the members at 3:09 a.m., with an additional 28 members reinstated at 11 a.m. The power for the last 12 members was restored on about 1:10 p.m. on Friday. It was necessary for the Valley Electric Association to replace 3 poles and the accompanying wires due to fire damage.
Last Sunday night, one woman sustained injuries when a vehicle apparently slammed into the back of her SUV while she was stopped on Highway 160, waiting to make a left turn to head westbound on Belle Vista.
A 2-vehicle accident here at 160 and Belle Vista last night prompted Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue and Nye County Sheriff's deputies to the scene, as well as Nevada Highway Patrol. It appears that one vehicle, the gray sedan, rear-ended the red SUV at the intersection when the red SUV was attempting to make a left-hand turn onto westbound Belle Vista. The female inside the red SUV was transported here locally to Desert View Hospital. Traffic was blocked in all directions while the investigation was being conducted. Nevada Highway Patrol is conducting the investigation. This is Deanne O'Donnell on Highway 160 in Belle Vista for News 46. We'll be right back with more of News 46's Week in Review when we return from these messages. Don't go anywhere.